provide a common platform to address all aspects related to our system. Today, we are continuing with second session of exam-oriented series. For this session of Charaka Samhitha Uttarardha, I welcome our speaker, Dr. Srivatsa sir. Sir has completed his BAMS from Mysore University in 1997 and MD from Jamnagar University in 2000. Sir has started his career at GAMC Mysore in 2009 as lecturer. Now, he is currently designated as Professor and Head PG Department of Samhita Siddhanta, GAMC Mysore. I once again welcome you, sir. It's over to you, sir.
Thank you. उद्धरेत् आत्मनात्मानं नात्मानम् अवसादयेत् आत्मैव ह्यात्मनो बन्धुः आत्मैव रिपुरात्मनः आत्मैव रिपु आत्मनः आत्मैव रिपुरात्मनः. Good evening. This hymn is from Bhagavad Gita, which is talking about self-efficiency. There is no any other way apart from self-performance to self-efficiency and self-success. So this hymn of Bhagavad Gita is talking about the same. When we think about self-efficiency, when we work for self-efficiency, then only the efficiency will be ours. So always there should be persistent thinking about the same. So commonly in contemporary psychology and clinical psychology, they call it as positive thinking, which is borrowed from the principles of the Bhagavad Gita. The same has been mentioned in Charaka Samhita as ahitebhyo arthebhyo mano nigraha. Ayurveda speaks about three different modes of chikitsa, as you all know. One is daiva, yukti, and third one is sapavajaya chikitsa. Mantra as well as Sangeeta are two modes of chikitsa which are mentioned in Charaka Samhita. There is need to talk about the practicality of the same. With that orientation, I am starting with the glimpse of mantra chikitsa and I am just introducing the concept of Sangeeta chikitsa. Also here, the raga which I have used here, that is meant to introduce and induce enthusiasm, which is very important at the level or at the phase of examination. With this background, we will enter the subject, that is exam orientation, which is required for Charaka Samhita, that is Uttarardha. I think you can see this slogan as well as picture. Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. So my orientation, my way of presentation here is to make you to be expert in fishing rather than providing you the fish. I mean to say, I prefer to give seeds for the students rather than giving fruits. Fruits will satisfy you for one food time, whereas if I provide you the seeds, you can do or you can get this fruits throughout your life. So with this orientation, we will enter to the subject proper. What are the methods we are supposed to follow while studying Charaka Samhita Uttarardha from the point of examination? Point number one, you should do mind mapping, which is very important. But what this mind mapping is, we have the description of Adhikarana as well as Nirnaya Tantra Yukti, which are representing the method of mind mapping. I will give an example, then you will understand this. Mind mapping means mapping the subject matter in your mind or mapping the subject matter in brain. So this has to be done very properly. So this is reflected in the context of Adhikarana as well as Nirnaya Tantra Yukti. So how it has to be done, that's a question. So here I am providing an example so that you can design yourself about each and every chapter. The example what I have selected here is Chardi Chikitsatam. So So when you read Chandi Chikitsitam, the whole chapter has to be mapped in this way. Then only it will be easy for you to remember the contents and it will be easy for you to present in the examination. So there are two components in this chapter. One is the description about the Vyadhi Charti. The second one is the description about the Chikitsa of Vyadhi Charti. So these two components, major components of the chapter should be sub-organized, which is very important one, through which it will be easy for us to organize the contents. So under the heading of Chardi Vyadhi, we get the description about Chardi Bheda as Vataja, Pittaja, Kafaja, Sannipataja, Vistarthaja. So again, these 5 types are explained under 4 important headings. I mean to say, we get the description regarding Nidana, we get the description regarding Samprakti, we get the description regarding Lakshana of each Veda. I mean to say, Vataja, Chatti, Nidana, Samprakti, Lakshana, and so on. And later we get the description about Sabhyasa Veda. This is the mapping of the Vyadhi Chatti. This has to be done for every chapter, starting from the first chapter of Chikitsasthana till the end of Siddhisthana, that is 12 chapter of Siddhisthana. From the point of Chikitsa, we get these major aspects like we get the Chikitsa Sutra of Chatti, then we get the description of Yukti Vyapashraya and Tattvavadaya Chikitsa for Chatti. There is no mentioning of Daiva Vyapashraya Chikitsa. So the specific mode of Chikitsa which has been provided, which has been stated in the text, that should be organized properly. So the Yukti Vyapashraya Chikitsa has been explained under the heading of Shodhana as per dosha, and Doshanusara Shamana, and Doshanusara Satya. These 3 points we get, and then we get the description about the Tattvavadaya Chikitsa for Vistarthaja Chatti, in which we get the description about Ahara, Vihara as well as Achara. So this is in total mapping of the chapter Chatti Chikitsitam. This type of mapping you have to do for every chapter in Chikitsasthana, Kalpasthana as well as Siddhisthana. So when mapping is done, then all the contents will be remembered properly and it will be easy for you to reproduce in the examination. So this is what we call it as mind mapping. This is expressed very beautifully in each and every chapter of Uttarardha. Every chapter starts with Adhikarana Tantriti, every chapter ends with Nirnaya Tantriti. So when you look into the first and last component of each chapter, then you come to know what the chapter is talking about, what the chapter has been explained about respectively. So this has to be done for every chapter. This is the first point I wanted to share with you. Moving on to the second one, commonly how to know the concept of Chikitsa and how to present it, how to understand it. So we can categorize Chikitsa as a Samanya and Vishesha for our understanding, which is very important. So while writing Samanya Chikitsa, you can follow this system, the style of organization of the matter. As we already studied, in Sutasthana 11th chapter, Chikitsa has been categorized as Daiva Vyapashraya, Yukti Vyapashraya, and Sattvavadaya, as we all know. So there are few diseases in which you come across with the description of all the 3 forms of Chikitsa, that is Daiva, Yukti, and Sattvavadaya. For example, Jwara. So there we get the description regarding Daiva Vyapashraya Chikitsa also, Yukti Vyapashraya Chikitsa also, Sattvavadaya Chikitsa also. But there are few diseases in which you come across with either Daivapashraya and Yuktapashraya or Yuktapashraya and Sattvavadaya or any one mode of Chikitsa alone. So that depends. For example, if we go through Shota Chikitsitam, we get the description about Yukti Vyapashraya Chikitsa extensively. When we go to Rajeshma Chikitsitam, we get the description regarding again all the 3 forms of Chikitsa. So like that. And if we go through Udara Chikitsitam, we get the description regarding Daivapashrayam as well as Yuktapashrayam. There is no mentioning of Sattvavadayam at all. So like that, the specific mode of Chikitsa which has been mentioned for each Vyadhi should be known, and accordingly this category has to be followed. This helps you to organize the contents in every chapter so that you can present effectively in the examination. The next category which has to be focused is Antaparimarjana, Bahiparimarjana, and Shatrapranidhana, which are the subtypes of Yuktapashraya, as you all know. Again, under Antaparimarjana, we have 2 important modes. One is the Shodhana as well as Shamana. Again, in Shodhana, in every disease, for every disease, Vamana, Virechana, Bastinasya are mentioned according to the name. So whatever the mode that has been mentioned, that should be organized under this tree of Chikitsa, which is very important, and so that it will be presented effectively in the examination. Coming to the point of a Shamana, here mainly we get the description of a Shamana under these headings. There might be or there will be description about Panchavidha Kashaya Kalpana. Not all relevant will be incorporated, and there will be description about Ekamulika Dravya. In almost every disease we get the description regarding this. Similarly, there will be mentioning of Ekadravya Prayoga, for Ekarasa Dravya Prayoga. For example, in the context of Kusta, we get the description of Lelitika Prayoga, we get the description of Swarnamakshika, we get the description about Shilajito. So like that. So that has to be mentioned. We get the description regarding Sandhana Kalpanas, and they are very specific. You cannot write Sandhana Kalpana for all the Vyadhi explained in Charaka Samhita Chikitsa. It is not like that. For certain diseases, Sandhana Kalpanas are projected. For certain diseases, Charaka Kalpanas are projected. For certain diseases, Lavana Kalpanas are projected. So whatever, wherever has been mentioned, that has to be incorporated under the heading of Shamana. So this is how the Chikitsa has to be organized in general. After this comes different stages of Chikitsa, what you are supposed to know, what you are supposed to arrange. Always Chikitsa in Charaka Samhita starts with Nidana Parivarchana. So this has been mentioned for every Vyadhi. This statement has to be put first, which is very important. And one or two Nidana has to be specified, and these Nidana should be avoided. This statement should come in your answer, which is very important. Moving on to the second point, should be Samprapti Vihatana. So this has been given for every disease in Charaka Samhita, and here the point what you are supposed to remember is you should know Samprapti properly. Samprapti Vihatana will be exactly opposite to the Samprapti. I will put this statement in another way. We get the description regarding Chikitsa Sutra for every Vyadhi. Chikitsa Sutra is nothing but reversal phenomena of the Samprapti. What has to be done for breaking of Samprapti that has been mentioned under the heading of Chikitsa Sutra. So these 2 points you have to keep in your mind, and that has to be mentioned again and repeat. Samprapti should be presented properly. Breaking of Samprapti is called as a Samprapti Vihatana. To facilitate the process of Samprapti Vihatana, Chikitsa Sutra has been mentioned. Chikitsa Sutra is nothing but the reversal of the Samprapti, so this has to be presented properly. One will be progressive flowchart, another will be regressive flowchart. So this has to be followed properly. Moving on to the third one, Pratidvandva Chikitsa. There are few diseases in which Pratidvandva Chikitsa has been mentioned. For example, in the context of Unmada Apasmara, if it is due to Kama Krodha, reversal to that has to be introduced, like that it has been mentioned. So we call it as Pratidvandva Chikitsa. It has not been given for all the Vyadhis. So wherever it is a specific, that has to be mentioned. Similarly, the concept of Vyatyasa Chikitsa has been mentioned in certain diseases. You have to project this, which is very important. For example, in the context of Vishwasa, Kashwa, so the shloka which has been mentioned, so that is talking about Vyatyasa Chikitsa. Wherever it has been mentioned, that has to be mentioned. Chikitsa has to be looked into from the point of Dosha Viparita, Vyadhi Viparita, and Ubhaya Viparita. So there are few diseases wherein we come across with the description of this type of classification, which has to be kept in mind, that has to be presented very specifically. The next form of Chikitsa which is projected is Pratimarga Rogaharana Chikitsa. So this is very specific in the context of Raktapitta, as you all know. So this has to be specified properly apart from that general description, whatever we talked about previously. And there is one more mode of Chikitsa which has been mentioned. We call it as Avachika Chikitsa, in which for certain diseases, the Chikitsa has been explained from the point of the Samanidama Avastha, Ama Pachamana Patmavastha, Vega Avega. For example, in the context of Unmada Pasmara, we get the description regarding Vega Avega. In the context of Tamakashwa also, we get the description regarding Vega Kalina Upakrama, Avega Kalina Upakrama, like that. And in the context of Gulma, we get the description regarding Ama Pachamana Patmavastha. So like that. So wherever that has been mentioned, and that should be specifically mentioned apart from the general description what we discussed already. Yes. There are few diseases in which we get the description of Lakshanika Chikitsa. Kriyam Avasthikamshu, sorry, Lakshanikamshu, like that only the description has been mentioned, especially in the context of Kasa and Ukashwasa, we get the description about the Lakshanika Chikitsa. So wherever we get that, that has to be known properly, that has to be mentioned properly. Apart from that, we have the description of Vishesha Chikitsa. There are few conditions in the Vyadhi, or there are few Vyadhi in which we get a specific mode of management. For example, Shara Prayoga in Gulma and Raktapitta, Sakra Prayoga in Arshas, and so on. So this has to be kept in mind and that has to be presented properly. And apart from that, there are few diseases in which Chikitsa has been projected from the point of Dosha Bheda. Depending on dosha bheda, chikitsa has been projected. For example, in the context of kushta, we have the description of the 7 types of mahakushta. We have the description about 11 types of shudra kushta. We have the description of 18 types of kushta. But when we look into the management, it has been explained from the point of dosha bheda. These 18 types of kushta should be categorized under dosha, and chikitsa has to be planned according to the involved dosha. That's why Vatottareshu Tatsiri, Pittottareshu Kushteshu, so the description has been given like that. So this is distinct, unique from the point of this basis. So that has to be projected, that has to be mentioned properly. And depending on Vyadhi Bheda, Chikitsa has been mentioned. There are few diseases in which the classification has been explained in a different way. For example, in the context of Raktapitta, even though Doshanusara Bheda has been mentioned, but Marganusara Bheda is having much of importance, and Chikitsa has been explained based on Marga. But in the context of Kasa, the description has been given based on dosha bheda like Vataja, Pittaja, Kafaja, Kshataja, Kshayata, like that. So this Vyadhi Bhedanusara Chikitsa has to be kept in mind and that has to be specified properly. I mean to say, in the context of Raktapitta, we don't have general description of Chikitsa. In Raktapitta itself, the Chikitsa has been explained from the point of Marga. Similarly, in the context of Kasa, specific Chikitsa for Vataja Kasa, specific Chikitsa for Pittaja Kasa, specific Chikitsa for Kafaja Kasa, it has been explained like that. We don't have some general description for the management of Kasa. I mean to say, Samanya Chikitsa for Kasa has not been given. Chikitsa for Vataja, Pittaja, Kafaja, like that only it has been given. But when we look into Hikashwasa, the description method is entirely different. So this point has to be kept in mind. We cannot write the chikitsa as we wish. Whatever that has been mentioned, it has to be presented very appropriately, which is very important. Chikitsa has been explained from the point of Pathya also in various diseases. In various diseases, rather than Aushadha, Pathya has been projected extensively. For example, the disease Atisara, the disease Prameha. So here, Pathya has been projected extensively, which has to be kept in mind. And one more point has to be kept in mind. There are few chapters in which the description given in that particular chapter requires some link from other chapter, some other chapter. For example, that's what I mentioned here, Yoni Vyapa and Shotra. So they are linked together. So some informations which are present in Yoni Vyapa, they are somewhere linked with Shotra, or Shotra is having some link with Yoni Vyapa factor. Similarly, there are few concepts which are linked with each other. For example, in the context of Arsha, Grahani, Udara, Kshatakshina, Radekshma, Kasa. So like that. So these links should be kept in mind while writing the answer, and that link has to be projected properly, which is very important. The next point I wanted to share with you from the point of Chikitsa is the importance of Pathya. Pathya itself has been mentioned as a remedy in Charaka Samhita. That's the beauty of Charaka Samhita. Extensive importance has been given for Pathya. This has to be understood with few points. First, you should know specific Ahara Varga which has been mentioned in each and every chapter. Ahara Varga is very specific. So this point has to be kept in mind, like Shuka, Shami, Mamsa, Phala, Jala, Kshira. For every Vyadhi, specific Shuka Dhanya has been given, specific Shami Dhanya has been given, specific Mamsa Varga has been given, specific Jala Varga, Aushadha Siddha Jala has been given, specific Kshira Varga has been given, like mentioning of Patak in the management of Arsha, Udara, like that. Kshira, Ghrita in the context of Radekshma, Kshatakshina, like that. So phala is also like that. So every ahara varga is very specific for every disease. So we cannot write randomly the diet list. So this point we have to keep in our mind. That is very important. The next one is Kritarna varga. This is also very specific. Bodhana, how it has to be mentioned, Yavadu, Yusha, Supa, Bhaksha. It is not generalized. For every Vyadi, this is very specific. Janjana, Kshira Vikriti, everything has been mentioned very specifically. So this should be known properly. That is very important one. So we cannot write the random description or we cannot provide the random description about Kritarna Varga. Okay. Now we should know the point from the aspect of Nidana, which is very important, and how the concept of Nidana has to be looked into and how it has to be presented. This is very important point because repeatedly you get the question regarding the same. Let us take the example of Vatarakta. So when we look into the Lakshanas of, Nidana of Vatarakta, so the Nidana are projected from the point of two stages of Samprapti. There are two important components majorly involved in the Samprapti of Vatarakta. One is Vruddha Vata, second one is Pradushta Shonita. For Vata Vriddhi, the Nidanas are specific. For Shonita Dushti, Nidanas are specific. So we have to categorize, or we can categorize Nidanas like Nidana for Shonita Dushti, Nidana for Vata Vriddhi. So again, these Nidanas can be categorized like this. So Nidana for Shonita Dushti can be categorized as Viharaja, Manasika, Aharaja, Aharaja. We come across with only three modes here, so which has to be kept in mind. So under see the point, what has to be remembered here is these Nidanas are very specific. We cannot write the Nidanas randomly, or we cannot take a risk while writing the Nidanas because they are very specific. So these Nidanas can be categorized like this. While writing Aharaja Nidana, again you can go for higher level of organization of the matter. There are few rasas which are mentioned, like for Shonita Dushti, Lavanamla Katu. From Gunataha, the Guna, the Ahara which is possessing Sita and Ushna Guna. From the point of Vidhi, Ajil, Shindi, Kulatha, Masha, Nishkava, so like that. So when you organize the Nidana like this, see here I have categorized Aharaja Nidana from the point of Dravya in a different way. Have a look of this. Again, when you look into Aharaja Nidana, so we come across with certain Shingvi Dhanya as Nidana, certain Shaka as Nidana, certain Kshira Varga as Nidana, Mamsa Varga as Nidana. Again, I have categorized this here. So you have to categorize them because Nidanas are very specific, so we cannot write the Nidanas randomly. So we will look into the Nidanas of Vata here. There is no only they have given the description regarding only Aharaja as well as Viharaja Nidana for Vata Vritti. Under Viharaja Nidana also Yana, Atikrida, Atiplavana, Vega Nigraha, such Nidanas have been given. The point what we are supposed to know here is Manasika Nidana has been given for Shonita Dushti, but no Manasika Nidana has been given for Vata Dushti here. So the textual description is very important on what you are supposed to know here. I think you can notice it here. And from the point of Ahara, see the classification here. We get the specific rasa for Vata Dushti, specific guna for Vata Dushti, and from the point of Mata. Only these three factors have been mentioned here. So as I already mentioned for Shonita Dushti, whatever the Ahara factors mentioned, so such type of classification you cannot do here because they are very specific. That's what I wanted to share for you here. So while you are writing the answer, while you are preparing, so you should be very specific about all these things. But commonly what we do, we randomly categorize Nidana as Aharaja, Viharaja, Manasika, Agartuja, Anya, something like that. And randomly we write. Whenever we come across with Vata Dushti Vyadi, Laghuruksha, Katutikta, Kashaya, something of the Nidana, whatever we feel that comes under that particular disease, we go on writing it. Actually, it is not like so. Nidana are very specific and that has to be presented very properly. So if the description of Nidana has been given in this way, then we can present it very well. In the examination, if you get the question like write the Nidana for Grahani, you get extensive description regarding Grahani Nidana. You have Samanya Nidana also, you have the description regarding the Nidana for Vataja Grahani, Pittaja Grahani and Kapaja Grahani. In such condition, you should organize the subject matter, which is very important. When you have very vast description, which has to be presented completely also, and which has to be minimized. Otherwise, it takes a lot of time. You should know time management. So here is an effort which has been made. So under Samanya Nidana, you go for organization in this way. Of course, for the manifestation of Grahani, Ahara Nidana has been mentioned extensively. So there comes Vidhi. First component is Vidhi. So like Abhojana, Ajirnashana, Atibhojana are coming under Samanya Nidana. Again for Vataja, Pittaja, Kapaja, Grahani separate Ahara Nidana from the point of view we have been mentioned, like Pramitashana, Anashana for Vataja Grahani, and so on. So this has to be categorized like this. From the point of Guna, Guru, Shita, Atiruksha are mentioned under Samanya Nidana, whereas under Vataja, Atiruksha, Atishita Guna of Ahara has been mentioned. Beautifully, the point what has to be kept in mind is from the point of rasa for Vataja and Pittaja, specific rasa has been mentioned as Nidana, but for Samanya and Kapaja Grahani, there is no mention of any rasa. From the point of Dravya, for Pittaja Grahani, Shara Dravya has been mentioned, not for other texts. So like this, when you categorize the Ahara Nidana, then remembering will be very easy, presenting will be appropriate. From the point of Vihara, we have Samanya Nidana as Vega Vidharanam. Similarly, for Vataja Pittaja Kapaja, some Nidanas have been mentioned, which has to be mentioned. So the third category what I have made here is Chikitsa Vibhrama. Chikitsa Vibhrama is a specific Nidana attributed for Grahani, which has been mentioned under Samanya Nidana. Like Virekama Vibhrama, Vamana Vibhrama, Sneha Vibhrama and all are leading for Grahani dosha, which has been mentioned. So they are all coming under Chikitsa Vibhrama. Grahani manifests as Upadrava of various diseases also, which has been mentioned as Vyadhikarshana, which is again Samanya Nidana. Apart from that, some Vishesh Nidana have been mentioned for manifestation of Grahani commonly. They are like Desha Vaishamya, Kala Vaishamya, Ritu Vaishamya. So they have mentioned in the Samanya Nidana. So this is how you can categorize and you can present it in the examination. Now we will move on to the concept of Samprapti, which can be presented effectively in the examination. To present Samprapti, you can go for two important styles. One, writing the shloka, that is common for both the methods. Second one, writing the flowchart and writing the Samprapti Ghataka. These are the two major components. One, writing Samprapti in the form of flowchart, writing Samprapti in the form of Samprapti Ghataka. These are the two methods which you can follow. And for both methods, it's mandatory to write the Samprapti and behind the Samprapti shloka. There is no shortcut for that. So let us see how to present flowchart form. I have taken the example of Ashra here. So how the Vyadhi starts, Prakutito Vayu Apanastam. This is the first stage. So then what it will do, Upachitamalam Adhogam Asatya Gudavarishu Adhatte Panchatma Vayuhu Pittashkleshmano Prakupitam Gudajanam Samutsave Tataha Tau Arshanti Jayante. So this is how the Samprapti moves on. This is how you can present the flowchart, what I have mentioned here. As I already said, there is another method of presenting Samprapti. We call it as mentioning Samprapti Ghataka. So here you can write like this. Dosha, as you all know, Panchatmavayu, Pitta plus Kapha. Dosha, as per the description of the shloka itself, that is Smeda Mamsa Tvacha. Agni, it has been mentioned, Jataragni. Of course, there is involvement of these dhatu. Based on that, the respective dhatu can also be mentioned. Of course, Sama is because of the Agni which is involved and the dhatu which is involved. Adhisthana is, previously it has been mentioned, Gudavalishu Adhatte, so that is talking about the Adhisthana after that. Uddhavasthana, of course, there is involvement of all the three doshas, automatically corresponding to some Uddhavasthana. Vyaktasthana is Kuda, as you all know. Rogamarga, as per the reference of Sutrasthana 11th chapter, which is both Abhyantara as well as Bhashya Sotas. Bhashya Rogamarga. Sotas is Mahasotas. Sotodusti, depending on the Samprapti description, it is Sangha as well. Shiragrantha. This is another way of presenting Samhita. Now we will move on to the presentation of Lakshana. How Lakshana has to be presented very appropriately. I have taken two examples for you to show how to write the Lakshana. For example, if Kushtha Lakshana is as, you can go for the description of the Samanya Lakshana based on this one. So to narrate Kushtha Lakshana, they have taken 5 important criteria which you get in Nidanasthana, Kushtha Nidanam. Vedana, Varna, Samsthana, Prabhava and Nama. Okay, so the same method you can follow, and we get the description regarding Vataja Kushtha Lakshana, Pittaja Kushtha Lakshana as well as Kapaja Kushtha Lakshana. So these Lakshanas can be categorized under the headings like Vedana, Varna, Samsthana, Prabhava as well as Nama. So in Vataja Kushtha, Toda and Shula are related with Vedana, Shava and Aruna are indicating Varna Vikriti. Raukshya, Shosha, Parushya, Kharabhava, they are indicating Samsthana. Sankocha, Ayama, Harsha are the Prabhava of Vataja Kushtha. Nama of Vataja Kushtha is like Kapala and so on. Similarly, you can present Pittaja as well as Kapaja Kushtha. This is one method of tabulation of Kushtha Lakshana which you can make use of in the examination. So I am taking another example later regarding Lakshana. So moving on to the Sadhya Satyata, which is commonly asked in the examination, which can be presented very appropriately with 2 methods. One, the common Lakshanas what you already studied in the chapter, that is Mahachatushpadadhyaya. So that can be taken into account because there we get this common description related with Sadhya Satyata all the way. From the point of Sadhya Satyata Ashra, how effectively it can be presented. So here I made an Vishesha, Anya Vyadhi Vishesha. From the point of Vyadhi Vishesha, like Sahaja, Tridosha Janya, Abhyantara Varyashitarsha. So that is actually Asadhya. From the point of Dosha Vishesha, Vata Lakshanas like Parsha, Shula and all, if they are present, they are indicating Asadhya Lakshana. So presence of some other specific disease is also an indication of Asadhya Lakshana. So that can be presented as I mentioned here, like Chardi, Hastashotha, Padashotha and so on. Coming to the Pururupa. So when Pururupa is asked, there are 2 methods of understanding Pururupa and presenting Pururupa. So I have taken the example of Prameha here. You can categorize Pururupa like this. Keeping the Samprapti of Prameha, keeping the disease Prameha in mind. So these Pururupa should be categorized. The Pururupa like Shayatana Sapna Sukherati, Madhuryam Asya, they are indicating Kapavikriti. The Pururupa like Sveda, Angagandha, Shitilangata are indicating Medovikriti. Whereas Ghanangata, the Pururupa is indicating Kapamedovikriti. Dosha Dushya Sammurchana can be indicated by Pururupa like Karapadadaha, Shita Priyatva, Galatalu Shosha, and so on. Ama Lakshana is indicated by the presence of Pururupa like Keshanakha Bhivuddhi, Hrit, Netra, Jihva, Shravana, Upadeva. Mutra Lakshana like Pipilikascha Mutre Abhidhavanti is the Pururupa which has been mentioned in that particular context. So when Pururupa are categorized under these headings, then remembering will also be very easy for you, and the level of understanding of the Vyadhi will also be different. Here the word Lakshana which I used, Ama Lakshana, Mutra Lakshana, is not from the point of Rupa or symptomatology, it is from the point of Pururupa. Coming to Bheda, when the question of write the classification of Atisara or write Bheda Lakshana of Atisara, it's very vast. Then writing the examination is challenging. Then what has to be done? Again here, we should go for organization. Atisara Lakshana can be organized like this. We have the description regarding Vata Jatisara Lakshana, Pitta Jatisara Lakshana, Kapha Jatisara Lakshana, Sannipata Jatisara Lakshana. And there, Atisara Lakshana has been explained from 2 views. One, Pratyatma Lakshana, another one, Samanya Lakshana. Again, Pratyatma Lakshana has been explained from the point of Purisha Lakshana and Purisha Pravritti Lakshana. Just try to look into the method of organization of Lakshana. Yeah. It is very important one. We have extensive description which has to be organized very methodically. We have the description of Pratyatma Lakshana, we have the description of Samanya Lakshana for each type. And in each type, again, we have two stages. One is Ama, as I already mentioned, another is Pakva. Surprisingly, Amavastha and Pakvavastha has been provided only for Vata Jatisara, and that has not been given for Pitta Jatisara, Kapha Jatisara. Just have a look of this categorization, what I have done here. Okay. Again, in Amavastha of Vata Jatisara, we have Purisha Lakshana also, we have Purisha Pravritti Lakshana also. Purisha Lakshana like Vijjala, Vipluta, and so on. Purisha Pravritti Lakshana like Sashulam, Sashabdam, and so on. Okay. Samanya Lakshanas like Vibadha Mutra, Vibadha Vata, and are also there. Again, Pratyatma Lakshana has been provided again for Pakvavastha also, in which again we have to categorize Lakshana as Purisha Sambandhi Lakshana, Purisha Pravritti Sambandhi Lakshana. So then it will be easy for us to remember and easy for us to provide effective answer. So this is from the point of Vata. Whereas in the condition of Pitta Jatisara, TWT, we don't have the description regarding Purisha Pravritti Sambandhi Lakshana. Here we have only Purisha Sambandhi Lakshana, Haridram, Haritam, and so on. And Samanya Lakshanas like Krishna, Daha, Svela, and they are there. But when we look into Kapha Jatisara, we have Pratyatma Lakshana as the Lakshana which is related with Purisha, the Lakshana which is related with Purisha Pravritti. So this is how the Lakshana has been provided. See, when the subject is organized, then remembering everything will be very easy for us. This is how the Bheda can be presented very appropriately. Coming to the formulations which are commonly asked in the examination, which can be presented very appropriately like this. I have taken one example here. You get many formulations in the examination like Chvanprash, so many Arishta like Ashtapata Arishta, Gandhirajya Arishta, Kamsaharipati, Narayana Churna. There are many formulations which will be asked in the examination. How to remember them, how to present them, that's always challenging. I have taken the example of Namayasa Churna here. So the formulation can be presented with these headings: ingredients with quantity, method of preparation, administration, and indications. First, better write the Adhikarana or context. This is a very primitive and simplest way of writing the formulation. But from the point of clinical application, from the point of practice, this yoga has to be remembered in a different way. The content should be remembered from the point of Mahakashaya. This is very important one. This is how each and every formulation works in every Vyadi. So when you segregate the major ingredients and when you identify the Gana in which that major ingredient is present, then it will be easy for you to know the mode of action of that particular formulation and the extent of application of that particular formulation. Because in Palashruti, we get many indications. For example, if you look into the same Namayasa Lauha, Namayasa Churna is said to be Panduhara, Drogahara, Kushtahara, Arshahara, Kamalahara. So when you understand the ingredients from the point of Gana, then you will be able to understand that particular Palashruti. So this is another way of understanding or knowing the formulation. So try to organize major ingredients under the heading of the major Charakottama Kashaya, which is very important. That's what I have done here. The bold one, what I did here, that is indicating the specificity of this particular formulation in that particular condition, in that particular Vyadi. So this way of studying formulation helps you to know the formulation properly, and this is helpful for your further clinical practice. Usually in every formulation, we come across with one dravya or one or two dravyas which are mainly acting as Rogashamana. There will be one or two dravyas which are Deepaniya and or Pachaniya. There will be one or two dravyas which will be acting as Anulovana. There will be one dravya, one ingredient which will be acting as Rasana. There will be one ingredient which will be acting as binding agent, like Guru or Gura, something of that kind. There will be one agent which will be acting as ionizing agent, like Lavana, Kshara, and so on. There will be certain agents which provide palatability, like sugandha dravyas whenever they are used, and there will be some dravya which act as preservative, and there will be some dravya which can counteract some adverse effects of some ingredients. So this is how generally the formulations have been designed. So the ingredients of every formulation are designed with this particular orientation. So if we keep these points in mind, then understanding every formulation will be very easy for us. There are few questions for which you are supposed to provide analytical answer. For example, Kshira Prayoga in Udara. The question will be asked why Kshira Prayoga has to be done in Udara. Many times we provide logical answer based on our logical technique. It's not at all required because in the text itself the answer is given. So how effectively you can present? So you can present with these questions like what? You put a question and write the subject, introduce the subject. Who? You just mention the condition. In which specific condition it has to be used. It has been mentioned prayoganam sarvesham in our question. How? How it has to be given, method of administration. So we get the description that has to be mentioned. Which type of kshira has to be given, that you have to mention. Then when it has to be given, duration. There it has been mentioned saptaha, dashaha, masa. Again, time of administration, it has been mentioned that to be provided properly. Why that has to be given? Here comes dosha anubandhakshartham bala sthairyatham. So that has been mentioned in the text itself. Where it is applicable, apachitanganam sarvadhatu kshayarthanam. What it will do, outcome. Devanam amrutam yatha. So this is how the analytical answer can be presented. You can go for another way in which you can make use of some concepts. Here I have taken the example of Shara Prayoga in Grahani. So if you take Adhikarana of Grahani Chikitsitam itself, that is Kapada Grahani, that itself is not sufficient. Along with that, we'll take the example of Vimanasthanas's chapter Rasavimanam, wherein you get the description regarding the specific karma of Kshara. So you start with the description of Adhikarana, then take the sport of Samuchaya, in which what are the different forms of Kshara that are indicated in Grahani, we just mentioned them. Then you go for the Vidhana Tantra, with the help of which you can write Matra, Anupana, Avastha, Aushadha Sevana Kala, Sevana Vidhi, and so on. Niyoga, there are few compulsions, there are few directions, instructions which should be followed, like after Vamana and Kapja Grahani, this has to be given like that. And then make use of Uksha Tantreti, based on which you can tell or you can explain mode of action, taking the support of Kshara Guna, which has been mentioned in the Manasthana chapter, and based on Prayojana, it is not Prayoga, sorry, Prayojana Tantreti, you just mention Agnim Vivarthe, and then based on Nirnaya Tantreti, you just put the conclusion. This is another way of providing analytical answer. Well, now we will move on to the points from different components of question paper. Commonly, there will be three important components in question paper. One will be long essay, second one will be short essay, third one will be short answer. When you are attending for long essay, these points you have to keep in your mind. So the question which is given for long essay, always it expects elaborating and descriptive answers. So at this level, you should provide organization of subject, which is very important one. Write or provide a stage-wise explanation. This is very important one. First introduce the subject, then you write subject proper, then you just discuss on the subject, and finally you draw the conclusion. Always write point-wise manner, which is very important one. Don't write in paragraph and all, because it will not catch the evaluator. Use more of flowcharts, tables, points, pictures. This is very important. Whereas while writing for short essay, you should follow these points. Your answer should be very specific and it should be subject proper, which is very important, and preferably points, and cover all the aspects and focus on concept as well as analysis. While attending for short answer questions for short answer, it should be very focused, it should be pinpointed, it should be precise, only and only points. And quick planning and implementation is very important one. So now let us take an example of a question paper and we will try to solve it, which is very important. Of course, this style has been changed, but still yours is also like this only. There will be long essay, short essay, as well as short answer. Of course, for short answer, the mark allotted now is 3. For long essay, the mark has been reduced now, but still the same style you have. That's why I have taken the same example here, even though it belongs to 2016. So in long essay, just have a look at the question. So here, there are 4 components in the question. Write Hetu Samprapti, 5. Hetu Samprapti Bheda Lakshana Chikitsa. So here, if the mark distribution is specified, then no problem. Otherwise, you have to decide it and you have to write. So you should cover all the 5 points. You should write Hetu, you should write Samprapti, you should write Bheda, you should write Lakshana, you should write Chikitsa. So if you miss any of the components, then you will not get the mark. So you should divide your answer in such a way that you are going to cover all the components. Important Hetu should be mentioned. Samprapti better to be presented with shloka and flocha. Bheda better to be presented with the table. Chikitsa in brief, because again here Chikitsa is very vast, so you cannot write everything here. So write Chikitsa and highlight the important components of Chikitsa, because in the management of Vata Shonika Chikitsitam, much of importance has been given only for Nitya Pasha. There is no mentioning of Daiva Pasha as well as the Pravajaya at all. So you just highlight that one and you don't necessarily go for Avartika Chikitsa and all, because you have very limited time. When you look into the short essay here, the question is Acharaka. Actually, in the question paper, the verb should be there, but you cannot question the question paper. So, question has been given already. You have to define everything. So, here you should define the boundary for your answer first. So, I mean to say, you should define what is meant by Achara Rasayana. Then you should define, you should explain the methodology of Achara Rasayana. Then you should write the outcome of Achara Rasayana. So, these 3 headings you should plan and you should present it very properly. The next question, you just have a look at it. Sannipata Jvara Lakshana. Again, here what happens, you have 2 classifications in Samhita. One is Samasannipata and Vishmasannipata. It's very extensive. So within limited time, you may not be able to write because the question has been given for 5 marks. Better go with the method of tabular formulation, with which you can present complete answer. Also, you will be able to remember all the points. The 4th one is Pushtha Chikitsa. Again, it is very vast, so need not necessarily to go for Pushtha Bheda, Pushtha Nidana, Pushtha Lakshana, and directly enter to the subject. Explain Pushtha Chikitsa in general. That's why I previously mentioned how you have to categorize Samanya, Vishesha, everything. So you follow that style here. The next question is Asragdara. So here you have a challenge. See, neither they mentioned write Asragdara Lakshana or Chikitsa. It is only Asragdara. Here what you have to do is, again, you have to define the boundary. You should define what is Asragdara. You should mention major Nidana. You should mention major Lakshana. Again, it's very vast. This even can be asked for 10 marks, 20 marks, like that. But here it has been asked for 5 marks. You should be intelligent enough to answer for this one. And then you should write Chikitsa also in brief. The next question which has been provided here is Visha Upakrama. Again, Visha Upakrama is very vast. You have so many Upakrama, you cannot explain them. First you define them, then each Upakrama you just mention in one sentence, not more than that. Coming to short answers, here you have Punaravartaka Jvara. Nothing has been mentioned. You just tell what is meant by Punaravartaka Jvara, what Lakshanas you trace, 1 or 2, and what Chikitsa Sutra should be planned. That's what I mentioned earlier. Precise and precise. Enumerate Pitta Jameha. Just to define what is Pitta Jameha, just mention the types. And the 3rd one, Sampraptiya Pukshaya Rajayakshma, better go for flowchart method. Otherwise, it takes a lot of time. Coming to the 4th one, that is Romantika. So here you just tell what is Romantika, what Lakshana to come across with Romantika, what Chikitsa Sutra should be for. The last question is Pichabhasti in this division. Again, you define what is Pichabhasti and you just mention the important major component of Pichabhasti and then where it has to be given. As we are talking about Charaka Samhita, the very important point in what you are supposed to remember while writing the answer is giving the reference. Don't forget that you have to give the reference for that one, which is very important one. For example, while writing Romantica, so this has been explained in the context of short system, like that you have to give a reference. So giving reference is very important one. Moving on to the next one, right indication, contraindication, and method of administration. See, here it is very clear. You just write indication, you just write contraindication. While writing the method, you organize like Purva Karma, Pradhana Karma, Paschat Karma. In that also, you just write point-wise manner, which is very important. But otherwise, it's not possible to manage the time. The second one is Namaya Sachuru. I already told you how to write. The third question here is Samakashwasa. Again, you have to specify. They have not specified anything, but you have to specify. So the important and major points from the point of Samakashwasa are Nidana, Samprapti, Chikitsa Sutra, Action. There will be four components. Each component should be touched in a very brief manner and you have to mention everything. Coming to Vatsaka Kalpa, the question is very direct. So you should give the list of Kalpa. So while reading Kalpasthana, you should remember Gunakarma, you should remember Paryaya, you should remember the last part of each chapter, that is the total yoga. At the end of every chapter, that is Madana Kalpadhyaya, Tribhuta Kalpadhyaya, and all. In each chapter, at the end, in the beginning, you get the description regarding Paryaya as well as Gunakarma, and at the end, you get the list of yogas of each dravya. So that you have to by heart. There is no shortcut. Note this point, and you have to by heart it, and you have to present it. So that will be the more ideal method. And Chaturangula Prayoga Vidhi. Here they have not asked you about the Kalpa. You should explain the method of administration. Gray Yoga, it is very specific. So first you should mention what is meant by Gray Yoga, and then you should mention for the reference. There are two references of Gray Yoga, what you are supposed to know, and then the method of administration and its significance. These 4 points should be there. Coming to the next one, Mahadoshakara Bhava, it's very vast. Many times it is asked for long essay. So here it has been asked for short answer. Here you should define what is meant by Mahadoshakara Bhava. Then you should mention one or two. Then you should mention what will be the outcome of this. And Avapedanasya, you should define what is meant by Avapedanasya. Within a sentence, you should mention the method and you should mention its indication one or two. And Jirna Ushidhi Lakshana, here also you should define what is meant by Jirna Ushidhi Lakshana, and you should mention the Lakshana 2, 3, 4 important one, and its relevance with one sentence. Sadatura, again it has to be defined, and who is called as Sadatura that you should mention, and what is its importance with one sentence. Matravarti also, you should define what is meant by Matravarti, where it has to be given, and what is its significance within 4 or 5 sentences. While planning, you should keep one important point in your mind. Always, you should schedule your time in such a way that you should spend 1 minute for one question. This is fixed. Sorry, for 1 mark. 1 minute time should be spent for 1 mark. This should be the time scheduling. This you should never forget. So you have to practice. You should go on writing, by which it will be very easy for you. How to read and study for the examination. This is also very important. And I'll just go through this within 5 minutes. So go through original text only, even though exams are coming nearer, better you go through the original text. By heart the shlokas regularly, there is no shortcut for that. Translated text you can refer either English or Hindi, through which you will be able to know the subject properly and discuss with your friends. Nowadays, it's very easy for you to make use of online platform for discussing. Discuss about the subject, which is very helpful for you to write effectively in the examination. Always, whatever you are reading, connect that with you are reading Shatakshila Chikitsitam. Remembering the ingredients of formulations mentioned there, it will be very easy when you connect the Shatakshila Chikitsitam with Shadvirichara Shatakshati Madhyayam, wherein you get the description regarding Sandhaniyam, Deepaniyam, Balyam, Brahmaniyam, as well as Jivaniyam Mahakashaya. So these Mahakashaya Dravyas are utilized in Shatakshila. Similarly, in the management of Gulma, Deepaniya Mahakashaya, Lekhaniya Mahakashaya, Bhedaniya Mahakashaya Dravyas are used, mentioned extensively. So this is how we are supposed to link, then it will be easy for you to remember the contents of Charaka Samhita. Make use of mnemonics if you are not competent enough in understanding the formulation. That will be the easiest one because exams are coming nearer. While learning shlokas, specifically learning the Chikitsa Sutra and Samprapti are mandatory. Shlokas of Samprapti, Shlokas of Chikitsa Sutra should be by hearted. There's no shortcut. Nidana, Lakshana, Pururupa are optional. So if you by heart, well and good. If it is not possible for you now within this short span of period, then place by heart Samprapti as well as Chikitsa Sutra. There's no shortcut for that. Then only you'll be able to understand Ayurveda properly. And make use of picturization whenever you are studying, because picturization helps you to understand the subject very properly. Thank you. Now I keep the session open, so if you have any doubts, you can.
Many people might be having this doubt. So, like in general, how do we remember the formulation? So, like many ingredients will be there. And in one of the slide you mentioned it,
I
but
mentioned two methods. One is
yes, sir.
go with mnemonics now. If it's not possible for you to have that style of remembering the formulation, what I mentioned earlier. So if it is possible, that is well and good. Otherwise, you categorize the information like ingredients, then methodology, then anupana as well as matra, then phalashruti. So these 4 points should be kept in mind. And one more point I already told you, commonly in every formulation, what are the basic ingredients that will be present. So that point you have to keep in your mind. If at all it's not possible for you to follow these styles, whatever I already mentioned, the easiest method is mnemonics. Go for mnemonics. You are all well aware of mnemonics, which you followed even while studying the formulations in the Shastra as well as by Kalpana. As we have very short period now, better is mnemonics. Have mnemonics, which will be very easy for you. And specifically, you should remember the major ingredients. But the best way to remember, or the ideal way to remember formulation, is the one which I mentioned, like remembering major ingredients from the point of Mahakashaya. So that helps you for further clinical practice. That is the best one. As you don't have a time now, you can go for this shortcut.
Good evening, sir. Sir, is it necessary to write shlokas in every answer?
It is better. That is the speciality. You have to bahad. There is no shortcut. You have to bahad the shloka, and it is having its own significance even in your personal development too. So bahad the shlokas. There is no shortcut. Don't be hesitant in bahading the shloka. We have to bahad the shloka. And especially, as I already mentioned, Samprapti as well as Chikitsa Sutra has to be mentioned. There is no shortcut. Don't go for only description, as this speciality or this field, Ayurveda field itself is in need of that, and it is having its own significance. And don't search for shortcut for shloka. There is no shortcut for shloka. You have to bahad shloka. It's having its own contribution in your expansion of intelligence, in your expansion of brain capabilities too. That's why bahad shloka. There is no shortcut. At least bahad Chikitsa Sutra as well as Samprapti. As I already mentioned, from the point of Kalpasthana, Guna, Karma as well as Yoga. So those shlokas you have to bahad. There is no shortcut.
Sir, one more person is asking, can you give some tips for studying Kalpasthana? As
I
the
told
chapter
already,
is...
I mentioned already. One, you bahad Guna, Karma and the Paryaya, as well as Yoga, which are mentioned at the end. That is one point number one. Point number two, all the formulations which are mentioned in Kalpasthana, they are having link. For example, if you read Madana Kalpadhyaya, reading and understanding remaining 5 adhyayas, chapters of Vamana Kalpa will be very easy for you. Similarly, if you read Trivis Kalpadhyaya, reading and understanding the formulations of remaining 5 adhyaya of Virechana Kalpa will be very easy. In the context of Vamana Dravya, Vamanopaga Dravyas are used majorly. In the context of Virechana Yoga, Virechanopaga Dravyas are used significantly. So these are the links what you are supposed to keep in your mind. And focus on Madana Kalpadhyaya properly, focus on Trivat Kalpadhyaya properly, then remembering the yogas of remaining 5 chapters will be very easy for you. So this much will be sufficient. And when you start reading, you may feel that it's very voluminous. But if you read very seriously, if you read with interest, if you read with concentration, then you realize they're all linked. So there is link between first chapter till sixth chapter. There is link between seventh chapter till 12th chapter. So make use of this link, then remembering and understanding Kalpasthana will be very easy. From the point of Siddhisthana, before you ask only, I only will tell. I touched many points already while talking about the question paper itself. One thing, by heart all the shlokas of first chapter and try to remember the contents of second chapter because again it is very important from the point of Panchakarma for your final year. The remaining chapters are also very important, but ninth chapter is very significantly important. Focus on Vamana Virechana Vyapats, Bhakti Vyapats. They are very important points what you are supposed to know. There is no shortcut for ninth chapter. There is no shortcut for 12th chapter. So these chapters you have to remember properly. But the shlokas of first chapter are mandatory. And if you go through ninth chapter, that is Siddhi, there you get the description regarding Nasya as well as Uttarardha and all. Those points are very important which you are supposed to know. They are talking about methods. But the classification of Nasya and all, if you had the shloka, that will be very helpful. And there you get the description regarding some important Vyadhi also like Mutra Bhata and all. So if you read now itself, then it will be very helpful for you during your third year from the point of Shalya Tantra and also from the point of other specialties.
So, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, my doubt is in Chikitsa Sthana, every chapter has specific formulations and yogas. Like, should we go through every formulations? Like, sometimes there are chances to.
Yeah. From the point of examination, from the point of clinical practice, you should know all the formulations because they are very distinct and special and they contribute significantly when you start practicing. From the point of examination, you make use of the previous year question papers in which you come to know the major formulations which will be asked in the examination. So make a list of important formulations which will be asked in the examination. For example, if you take Pandu, in that almost all the formulations will be asked. Bhuta Yogas, Namayasa, Yoga Raja, all will be asked. There are few diseases in which if you focus on specific, like in the context of Rasayana, if you know Brahma Rasayana, if you know Tripala Rasayana, if you know Shilajita Rasayana, if you know Bhalataka Rasayana, like that. So when you go through the previous year question bank, then you come to know the major formulations or important formulations which will be asked in the examination. Focus on them, that will be sufficient from the point of examination. But from the point of practice, you should know all the formulations. That will be very helpful. Now you might not be realizing, but if you read Charaka Samhita completely, you will be the master in practicing Ayurveda. Hope I answered.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Sir, in YouTube comment box there is a question, sir. The person is asking that can you explain the simpler way of explaining Chikitsa? Like now the pages have been restricted, sir, by the university. So they're asking how.
You make the categorization of Chikitsa, which is very important, and that's what I mentioned earlier. That is the simplest way of presenting the answer. Organize the contents. I mentioned it in a form of flowchart in the first slide. So make the description of every chart. That's what I mentioned from the beginning. So you should do mind mapping first, in which what all the headings you are supposed to plan. That also I mentioned with an example. For everything I have given the example. So go through the description again. Anyhow, it is available. Go through that again. Then you come to know the simplest way of presentation. That's what I did throughout. I have given example for everything. How to simplify, how to organize Dana, how to organize Chikitsa, everything I did throughout. Go through that. Hope I answered.
Any other doubts? Like you people can post it, or like sir will share his email ID. So can you please post your email ID, sir, so that our audience, if anybody else if they have any doubt, they can mail you, sir.
Yeah, it has been done.
So we have come to the end of this session, sir. On behalf of entire team of Jigna, sir, I would wholeheartedly thank you, sir, for giving such a wonderful session. Like every slide that you showed us has definitely will be helping our audience to face the questions upcoming exams confidently, sir. Thank you for making the session more creative and more informative, sir. I'd also like
Thank
to
you.
thank all. Yes, I'd also like to thank all the audience those who have joined on the YouTube. Keep encouraging us to organize more such successful sessions. So thank you once again, sir. Keep encouraging us to do more activities and gymnastics.
All the best.
Thank you, sir.